I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. And yes, we will. And because I'm with my guest this morning on Mid-Morning Matters here on Marlow FM down in the Longridge Activity Centre. And we've been talking about wisdom, the various stages of our development where we move from a childhood state, I guess pre-conditioning, which must be fairly early because the conditioning, I think, starts fairly early, where we're not connected with our ego, we're not aware of the ego. Then we become adults, we become almost driven by our egos, and what my guest James Blacker was saying is that the next stage would be the search for freedom, where we start to get wisdom or awareness that this is not the way we want to live, whatever it is that's happening for us, and wisdom then begins. Is that the way it is?
It is, yes. Just to qualify the word ego, not in the sense of judgmental sense. I'm aware that most people out there are not being big-headed as such. But it's in a sense of a definition of ourselves that's coming from the mind. So
that
we're living in our minds. Yes,
and mostly about judgment. I'm about myself. I'm not good enough, and you're not good enough, and I don't have enough.
Absolutely. Any judgment about others, actually, or the world, is by definition a judgment of ourselves.
It's a mirror.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Can't not be.
And so what is the process? Let's just take an example. Can we have an example of a condition that somebody might have? They might be, I don't know, overeating, overindulging in something, or you were saying that a habit is an unconscious thing.
Yeah.
But for most people, if I'm drinking too much alcohol, or it's not unconscious. I look in the mirror and say, I've got a situation here.
Right, okay. Well, the one difference that comes to mind is that you're looking in the mirror, and the examples that you're giving me, people have got that awareness arising, but they're still coming from it a level 2, where they're judging the fact that it's arising.
Yeah, most of us do.
So as
most of us haven't reached wisdom yet.
Pure consciousness is the healing force of life. So it's that.
How do I get pure consciousness?
Well, by not judging yourself.
How do I not judge myself?
By knowing that the identifications, the issues and such like are not ultimately who you are anyway. If you're identifying, if you have wisdom, then you're defined as emptiness. There's no need to define yourself, yes? So if you're in your ego, you're going to be defining yourself. So actually, I'm a pauper, I'm overeating, I'm doing this. This is a form of ego. It may be true that we're overeating or drinking too much, but again, it's not who we are. It's not our underlying truth. It's not our inherent nature.
But how do I switch off the judge, the inner judge inside my head that's saying I'm no use, I'm no good, I'll never be any good?
You allow it, you leave it alone.
Okay.
It's a subtle paradox. Sometimes not trying helps. but it's when the mind has the understanding that these things aren't who we are, we need to let go of the resistance to the fact that we are these things. We can choose to be slim.
Because that's feeding it. It's like it's feeding the dragon,
yes. It's
isn't
kind of like there's a choice, and these fears and resistances that we're talking about, or the attachments, are almost like opposites. So choice is a very subtle, instant thing. But when we get into judgment, we think we're trying to choose something, but actually we're not. We're choosing to judge ourselves, or we're choosing a perpetuation of it. It's kind of like if you're in a net that's got you tangled and you're trying to struggle your way out of it. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't work. What we need is to, rather than resist a situation, so if we're resisting the fact that we drink too much, or we're resisting the fact that we've got a few pounds of weight on us, we need to allow the situation. In the resistance, it's just the conscious mind part of us that is trying to make these changes. But we're more than our conscious minds. We have deeper unconscious knowledge. We also have our body and the body's habits. So the body might be thinking to itself, okay, I want to help you get slim, but there's certain things that I need to do in order for that to happen, and I'd like to do it a certain way to feel good and healthy. There might be 100,000 or 1 million things that the body needs to do that we don't need to know about, because that's how our body runs. It's subconscious. But if we keep having these resistances and attachments, we're going to keep putting the conscious mind throwing rocks in the road, and stopping our greater self and our whole congruent self from taking care of it. So we have to trust that it's going to find its way to what we're asking for. So we make a calm, subtle choice, and then we let it go, because we're not attached to the outcome. Hand that stuff over to our deeper self and we just let it run. We can't get out of attachment by more attachment. And if we think we're making choices, but it was like, I want to be slim, or I want to stop drinking, there's a charge around that. We're in more attachment, it's just a perpetuation of the attachment.
So can you break it down for me?
Yeah.
So I've got a particular situation.
Okay.
Let's name it. So I'm overeating, let's just say.
Okay.
And I may feel feelings that I don't feel good enough about myself, don't really love myself. And so I'm starting to. I find comfort in opening the fridge and taking something out of the fridge. So break it down for me. What is it that I need to do differently?
Well, it's interesting because a minute ago you said you were making choices that you wanted to choose something, but you weren't able to do it. So you're choosing that you didn't want to open the fridge and have some food.
Sorry, I did. So repeat what you think I said.
Let's start at the beginning then. Do you want to open the fridge and have some food, or do you not?
Yes.
You do?
Because I've just had this thought that I'm feeling a discomfort of some kind. It's unconscious.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, a nice bar of chocolate is going to resolve that for me. I don't do that consciously. I'm doing it unconsciously.
Okay.
I'm halfway through a bar of chocolate, and I'm thinking, I really don't want to be eating this.
Right, okay, this comes into a specific teaching I do called the Wisdom Diet, which is specifically for weight management.
Okay, good.
In this case, you're looking at you said that this makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't be eating if it didn't. So there's a part of me...
hang on, let's unpack then.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Let's even write that down. You wouldn't be eating that if it didn't make me feel good. I think we need to unpack that, because I think often that's untrue. In fact, I know for a fact, for myself, I've had this a lot. I have many times eaten things that didn't make me feel good.
So we're talking about
I think they're going to make me feel good in my mind.
Yeah, so I'm not talking about the conscious mind. I'm talking about the fact that this is before I might even decide I'm not going to have any chocolate this week, and on Wednesday I find myself halfway through a bar of chocolate.
Okay.
No, I haven't done it consciously. So what I'm hearing you saying is it would be helpful for me if I was to write down, to make it conscious. I'm trying to understand the process.
Right. Well, there's a few here, but what I'm saying to you is there's a difference between the needs of the mind and the needs of the body. If the need for food is in the mind rather than the body, you can never satisfy the need with food. So what I'm saying to you is, a lot of this time when we have chips or chocolate or all these things, often we think that we're enjoying them, but we're not actually aware of the fact that we're not enjoying them.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. So by listening to the body more, becoming awareness, choosing to have a path of self-awareness, we can actually, rather than me giving up chocolate or beer become something that requires willpower, I don't judge it. I allow myself to have the pure experience. If I have a piece of chocolate or these beers or whatever, I actually feel into my body, and that makes me feel rubbish. I don't want to do that anymore. So it goes from, I'm not beating myself up, I'm in a place of calm choice from a place of pure awareness.
Yeah.
Okay? So what I realized, it was a need of the mind, and I thought that these things were making me feel good. Because maybe once 10 years ago I had a bar of chocolate and it made me feel good because I was living as a child in the moment. And it was what my body wanted then, so it felt great. But as we keep repeating the habit, it stops. What we need to notice is it stops being something that actually makes the body feel good. It makes the body feel lousy. But because we're in our minds, we've got this tick box up there saying, I can relax when I have a bar of chocolate or a glass of wine this evening or a beer, whatever it is. The increased awareness brings us back to an awareness that actually these things aren't always what make us feel good. So then we can return to we allow in, without judging it, we allow in a truer way of being, and we just can make simple choices.
And it isn't, it's very often not what the body actually wants or needs. In the other studio we have Jenny Kishi, who's a nutritionist, and I see her smiling. She would be talking to us about that sometimes the body just needs water. It doesn't need chocolate. It just needs some nourishment, and very often it just needs. So what you're saying is,
whenever you get a nutritionist in, the first thing that happens in the ego mind is guilt because I'm eating all these things that aren't lettuce and salads and all that kind of thing, and then the mind goes, right, I'm going to be healthy and now I'm going to eat all these salads and things, and we totally shut down awareness of the body. We try and eat salads, and it maybe lasts for a day or a week, and then we come plummeting right back down because we're trying, again, we're forcing, from a conscious mind point of view, we're forcing our bodies and our deeper selves to do something rather than consulting with them as to what they'd actually like.
Yeah.
So if I don't judge myself, then I can know that I can have a sense that those things might be good for me, and then as I start to eat the junk and the rubbish, and I genuinely listen into my body, I can feel it clogging my veins, I can feel my confidence going, I can feel my belly feeling fat. It's all horrible. So I'd actually then, because I've allowed myself that pure experience without judging it, then I can make a choice from a point of freedom. Actually, yeah, I'm going to eat healthy. I'd like something that's going to make my body genuinely feel good, rather than just tick a box in my head that makes my body feel rubbish.
Okay, let's move to a track here with This Is to Mother You by Sinead O'Connor.